Hi, my name is Musa. How I started my musical journey, it started when I was about five, between the ages of 5 and 6, because I was born dyslexic. So the only way that I could put words together or bring things together, I used to use syllables. So I was taught how to speak, to write, using claps and melodies, rhythms. Everything had to be in a rhythmic form in order for me to make it work. So all my life I had to depend on that. So I'd sit in my bedroom with a stereo and listen to music all the time so I can learn how to articulate words right and say everything right, to write down everything. So basically that's when my love for music grew, and I've never been one to listen to fast music or upbeat music. So I always listened to soul music because it always had that relevance as a part of me, because I started understanding lyrics at the age of like 10, 11. So at that time, they gave me so much peace, man. I could understand where my life was going somehow. I never felt defeated by being dyslexic and being black. I think at some points I never understood what was going on with me. At home, it was associated with laziness. So until I grew up to like 16, meeting up a couple of my teachers, and they were like, actually, you're not lazy. You just kind of, what is a disability? I'd rather put it that way. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say that's where my musical life started. The soul music space, how I got into it. It's funny how there's a guy called Upita who used to teach me quite a lot. I'd collect music from him and we would share music together. And there was one thing he made me realize every time we spoke about music was that soul music was actually created from a heartbeat. Half the time when your heart beats, it actually beats at the same time that the bass line is beating on, or the drum kit that is beating on at that time. That's where your heartbeat is. That's why it's so easy for everyone. You don't have to be a old or a young person to listen to soul music, because even from a young age it relates with you because it's in your heartbeat. It moves with your vessels. That's how I got to the soul music part of things as a part of my life. That's how I fell in love with soul music.
And what do you think is the difference between African soul music and American soul music, if there is a difference?
I'd say I don't think there's really much of a difference between African soul music and soul music around the globe. I think the only thing that makes it different is the lyrics, the language mostly, because we are saying what they would be saying in our own language. So it kind of sounds different because we are rooted into our own language. And I think the only reason why African soul becomes so beautiful to South African people, is because they understand more of the language and it's said to you in something that you would relate to one way or the other. So I think I don't see it being much of a difference. I think we're actually telling the same story. It's just in different languages. Sure. How I met Robbie, how we got to this point. It actually started off before Idols. I actually met Robbie. They were doing auditions for Zahara. So while they were doing the auditions for Zahara, I popped in. A friend of mine who's a drummer was going in there to go and audition. So I was like, I don't do auditions, because I've always been quite a steep soul. I've always known what I wanted in this life, and I'd never settle for anything else. So I was like, I'm not gonna go in and do auditions for Zahara. And he was like, come on, man, who knows? You might just get it. And then I went in. So as they were cutting down the list, Robbie at some point said he's not gonna work with me, and he's not willing to work with me at that point as a backing vocals. It would be nice if I left and tried and find something else. There's no way I'm gonna be a backing vocal. And I said to this guy, see, I told you, it's not gonna happen. Then I didn't see Robbie for about a year or so. Entered Idols. I came back from Idols. And then I met up with him in Midrand. He was having lunch, and I was like, "Hey, dude, you said to me I can't be a backing vocal, so it's time for us to start working." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, we'll work." I was like, "No, no, we're not gonna work. We will work." And I was like, "No, no, not now. Give me some time." And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna give you time. I don't have that luxury right now. I need us to work." Did one song on my first album, and you could tell that there was no there was not much of a relation between me and him at the time. It was more of a, let's get into studio. Someone needs to get paid, and you go home. I think after that, me and him got so close where we started understanding each other, how we think, what we want from each other, what we want from the music business as a whole. And that's how I think he was recording other people's albums. Me and him would fight about it all the time. I'd be like, no, why am I still sitting here? I need to drive with you to a studio while I'm a musician. I was like, no, man, I don't know. I don't have anything for you now. That's what makes it hard. You're not bringing any music to the table. So I started looking for music from all over the place. And he was like, yes, now we're working. Let's see how far we go. And then we stood again for like another 6 months doing nothing. I was like, no, guy, I think it's either this friendship ends or or something happens here. And he was like, no, man, something will come up. Until early this year, and we were like, okay, now we're doing this. Now we're getting into studio. Now we're making music. So it was I had to pester him for quite some time. I think I understood something about it along the way because it made us get to the point where our music now is inclined. Me and him think the same when it comes to music. I don't have to worry about coming up with a concept and how he feels about it because I know what he would and would not do. He knows what I would and would not do. So I think that's how Robbie and I got to that point where we are now today. I think my album, the best way to describe my album, I call it a rainbow album. It's the 10 shades of Afro soul. From where I look at it, I think I played around with all shades that Afro soul holds. I went from celebrating people like Uchabu Kanyile to celebrating people like Utsepo Tula as a part of my album. I went through a chapter where I was celebrating Imango Groove. So as a part of the album, I went to a part where I was celebrating even the likes of what's this old band called? Why am I forgetting? Hurricane. I went to that level where I wanted to tap into basically almost every decade of Afro soul that has ever existed, because a lot of people look at Afro soul and it looks like something that just started. When it's been there for so many years, man. So I tried celebrating every single part of it in every way that I could. That's how my album looks like. It takes you through a journey of where we come from and where we could be possibly going from here as Afro soul artists. So I think that's what makes my album, different from a lot of albums that have been there. Hi, this is Musa. This month we celebrate African inspired soul music on Kai FM. #Afro Soul Temba.